Hey, Grant Cardone here, your friend in sales and in business and in the way you think. If you've ever heard yourself say, and I know you have because I've done it, oh my gosh, I've done it so many times. This one idea has held me back from millions and millions of dollars. And that one idea, by the way, the ideas you have in your head can hold you back. I think you'd agree with that. That one idea is this. Man, that costs a lot of money. You ever been at a restaurant and you're like, oh my God. Okay. You go to the movie theater. Oh my God, they're getting that much for a 3D movie? Oh, you get the popcorn. Oh my God, that's a lot of money. Dude, it's $6 for a box of popcorn at the movie. It's almost criminal. But that's not a lot of money. Because here's the problem. If $6 for a box of popcorn is a lot of money, how will you ever, in your lifetime, be able to confront $1 million? See, when you see the price of something at the restaurant or the iPhone, okay, or the popcorn or the movie or the vacation or the trip or the plane ride or the first class ticket or whatever it is, or to one of my seminars, and you're like, man, that's a lot of money, man. Dude, every time you say that about a little bit of money, a lot of money becomes impossible. I'm just here trying to change the way you think, okay? And the way you think is going to cause you to act and do and perform in certain ways. So every time you see a $50 T-bone, okay, and another $25 for the lobster, that's $75 for the meal, and you say that's a lot of money, just remember this. Every time $75 becomes a lot of money, $7 million becomes impossible. I come from a lower middle class family. My dad died when I was 10. My mom raised five kids and had to manage that household on a limited amount of money. Most of us are brought up poor and middle class. So, you know what, we're as much as our parents did for us, as good as our parents were for us, were or were not there for us, most of us are labored with the things that our parents gave us that were good, and also enslaved with some of those things that were not so good, like scarcity, and there's not enough to go around, and you know, life is hard and you have to suffer and you're never going to really make it, and there's a shortage of everything. So I was also plagued with some of those stories, as many people that are listening are. And over the last 30 years, you know, since I was 20 years old, I've been trying to figure out how to get out of that thinking and get out of that mentality, and to have prosperity in my life and in my businesses. I was trying to get through high school and I wanted money. And then I went to college and I borrowed money from the federal government to go to college because they said I had to go to college. And everybody said, you got to go. So I went, I did my deal. I got my little college paper. I got my paper that nobody's ever asked for. And I got a good degree in accounting, and I was a decent student, which means I was just good enough to get through. And then I got out of college with my degree and my piece of paper that nobody ever asked for. And I tried to go get a job, and I couldn't get a job. It was 24% unemployment. And so I took a job where I was in sales. I didn't want to go do a sales job. I didn't need a college degree to get a sales job. But that was the only place that I could get a job and pay my bills. I mean, I needed to pay rent. So I became an entrepreneur at 25 years old, a sales entrepreneur at 23 years old, actually. And I hated sales for 2 years. At 25, I decided to become a great salesman, even though I still hated it. At 26, I was a great salesman. At 29, they were talking about me in an industry where I'd reached the top 1% of all the salespeople. At 30, I was teaching other people how to sell. At 20, I was broke. At 30, I was a millionaire. And at 40, I was a multimillionaire. At 50, I was freaking rich. This month, I bought $126 million worth of real estate. You're going to miss all the opportunities looking at your plan.
Yeah.
So life is going to serve up. Life and the marketplace are going to serve up opportunities. It's important to have a plan. You want a script. You want it laid out, right? You want ideas about where you're going to go. But dude, once the freaking race starts, you got to be in the race. Let's say the guy's goal is to make, $1 million this year. And he's like, man, I've never made $1 million. You see, the first thing he's going to do is go back to what he did in the past. Yeah. This is just what everybody does. Everybody does is, I've never made more than, the company's never made more than $200,000 in a year. Now you're saying $1 million. No, I'm saying no. What you should do is multiply that number times 10. First of all, you got to go back and ask, is the 10 million available on this planet? If you're talking about all the money in the universe and this money doesn't exist, then that's impossible. But if $10 million exists in this universe, build a program for it and then do whatever it takes. Game changer book for me was Dianetics by L. Ron Hubbard. Game changer. The book is about the reactive mind. It's about how the mind reacts. It's why people think little, why they respond, why they have crazy thoughts and ideas. Why people do all this negative talk to themselves about why they can't, how they can't, why they're negative, why something bad happens to you when you're 15 years old and you're still thinking about it 30 years later and you think about it all the time. I mean, it's a freaking amazing book about how the mind works and how to get rid of all this negative garbage you got going on in your head. You know, quit playing it safe, quit being careful, break out of this middle class. I talk a lot about the middle class. I'm not talking about the middle class financial. I'm talking about the middle class thinking. All that stuff, that's a thinking that you're boxed into. The first step in becoming a millionaire or becoming poor is the person actually makes the decision to do that. Mm-hmm. You know, poor people, Bill Gates said poor people are if you're born poor, that's one thing. If you stay poor, that's another thing. Shame on you. And I know that I was brought up lower middle class. I mean, I didn't know we were poor, and we really weren't poor because we had things. We had clothes and food and electricity. We had so many things that probably a third of planet Earth doesn't have every day. Yeah. But the fact is, we didn't have enough not to be worried all the time. So we were affluent in fear. You know, we were prospering in fear and short on everything else. So there was never enough bandwidth. We were always managing. Imagine having to manage your internet. Like, oh my God, I can't bring on another viewer because I only have this much bandwidth. Well, you can't grow like that. Budgets don't work. Okay, they just don't work. I can prove that a budget doesn't work. I can literally go through your office and show you 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 10 things. Probably half your office was not on your budget. So the first decision is, hey, dude, I want to get rich. See, the place in between is where most people get stuck. Most people are not poor and most people are not rich. Most people are stuck in between. You got to start fixing this, you know. And this is what you brought up, is the mindset. Like, how do I even, you're not going to make the right decision if you're mentally brought up poor or middle class the way I was. So the first thing you'd have to do to have the right mindset is you'd have to lose your mind. I go back to old thinking. You know, I got these shoes on this morning. What are these, Pradas? Yeah, these are Pradas, dude. They're $585. Okay, I'm like, this is ridiculous. And when I'm looking at the shoes, my wife wanted me to get these shoes, right? I'm like, well, they do feel good though, and they do kind of look good, right? And then I'm thinking to myself, why are you worried about $585, Grant? You know? Oh, because I could buy that shoe or something like it for $140 or find one on sale for $89 or whatever. But the reality is, see, I'm off track now because I'm not going for $585 in my life. I want to become a billionaire in my lifetime. I want to hit the $1 billion. I want to kill a bill, right? So what am I worried about $500 for, or 50 grand? Because that's not going to stop me. Now, this goes back to this trap about the middle class. See, most of us are brought up to believe the way to have money is to save it. Mm-hmm. You don't want to waste it. Clearly, you want to pay attention to it. You want to use it on the right things. But I'm in a position in my life where literally I couldn't buy enough Prada shoes to destroy what I've created. So at some point you pay the price. I mean, your question's about reframing, you know, how do I get refocused? If you're trying to get to this end of the spectrum, you can't save your way there. Okay. It's just impossible.
Have you always had the same mentality all the way from back then, or has it changed?
Well, no, it's changed because what happened in the beginning was you know, I didn't want to spend my money. So I'd make a little money, dude, and I'd be like, I was so scared because I didn't know what was going to happen. I kept thinking it was going to end. So when I was 30, I would have a month or a quarter or a year, right? And be like, dude, how long is this going to work? Now, looking back now, it was like that big, right? But I was amazed at what I was doing. And then, I mean, I made that much money in an hour yesterday. But when I'm 30 years old, I'm like, damn, $20,000. Am I going to be able to do this again? Everything was doubt. I was uncertain about everything because there was no plan. There was no like, I didn't have anybody to help me, so I didn't have anybody with me. I'm in an office that's literally this big. The office goes from this wall to right here. And I had a $2,000 computer that I was terrified to buy. Everything was fear. And so I was scared, man. I was scared all the time. I didn't know my customers. I mean, my think wasn't big enough, you know. So the point of that is, every time I got a dollar, I just pushed it aside, and then I didn't use it. If you don't spend money on your business won't grow. It's impossible. Okay, a guy that won't invest in his business is a guy that will. You can't make money if you don't spend money. You have to be willing to keep spending money. And the reason why is not because the money's going to grow the business. It's the flip side of that. Okay, the company that won't spend money is uncertain about their ability to get money. You understand the difference? It's not like all of a sudden I was going to spend money and make money. The problem was that I wasn't spending money because I was uncertain about, can I go out and do it again? That was the underlying problem. Now, today, 25 years later, man, I know for sure we can go get more money. There's no doubt I can get more money.
What was the biggest mistake you made in your career thus far? Or when you were starting out?
I mean, there's so many, man. The first one's thinking small. I was just thought too small, too long. Some of the things that helped me were some of the things that hurt me, you know. I didn't invest enough money, but I was scared. I stayed too small too long, didn't have any employees for too long. I wasn't selective enough about the people around me. They weren't bad people, they were just average people.
Look, here's the reason why the middle class is getting spanked. It's because you are being educated, trained, informed, told, sold on the idea of becoming risk adverse. The riskiest thing you can do today in this country is become risk adverse, and it's happened to you. The new paradigm, your new paradigm, must become take risk. Your new concept must be take risk. That is actually less risky to take risk than it is to not take risk. You put yourself at risk when you don't take risk. Reinvest in your facility so you have some people doing the stuff that you don't want to do and that you're not good at. Put your full attention on taking risk as a way to avoid risk, taking risk to increase income. The biggest mistake the middle class makes is it makes money, saves money, and sits on money, and that money goes down in value. Here's your risk formula. This is your risk formula. Make it, save it, get rid of it. Yeah, make it, save it for a short period of time, and then get rid of it, push it into income-producing assets, and then replenish the coffers and repeat the activity. You get the 4 steps? Make it, save it, get rid of it. My biggest regret was I didn't go bigger sooner. And number 2, and I'm going to be talking about it tonight on a stream. It's actually going to be a chapter out of my book, Obsessed, my new book. Dude, you guys got to spend more money, okay? You need to become obsessed with spending money. And I don't mean on watches, obsessed with spending. You need to be investing money in your career. You need to spend everything you have on you and your company. When I started my company at 29 years old, dude, I was like so freaking scared. I was so scared, so terrified, okay, that I wouldn't spend any money. The company was really, really successful. 4 years later, I was very successful. I'm 34 years old, and dude, I'm not spending any of it. Nothing. Okay, I refuse to spend it. I'm parking every dollar. Okay, every deal. I'm chinching on deals. I'm tight on everybody. I'm not sharing the wealth. I'm jacking people. You know, everything. Everything was small thinking. Second biggest mistake I made in my career was not reinvesting money in my service facilities, my business, my name, my brand, my education, my competence in great people. You know, and I was too busy looking at, well, what's the return on investment on this? And what's the return on investment on... Look, you can't measure everything, folks. I can tell you this. Investing money in your business is better than having money sit in the bank. And if you're scared to spend money, okay, you're scared to reinvest money in your business, the reality is you're valuing, you've just given up on your growth. I know a lot of very successful business people that do this now. They bring in people, hey, we're going to control expenses, because that's all the guy knows how to do. They bring in a CFO, and the CFO knows how to stop stuff, not grow stuff. You understand? If I don't know you, baby, I can't flow you, right? So you guys, what people do is people quit when they don't know what to do. And certainly you want to protect your capital, but the guy that won't spend money is done growing. That's all he's saying. I'm done growing. I'm not growing anymore. I'm not obsessed with my growth. I'm obsessed now with keeping what we have. So the guy that won't spend and won't invest is quit. Focus on your production, not on your money. Okay? Too many people are in a deal for the commission. They're like, what do I get? What do I get? Trying to figure out the deal. I had a painter at the house recently. He's like, well, what am I going to get? He's trying to figure out what he's going to get. You know what he's going to get? Nothing. You know why? Because he's focused on his money, not on his production, not on the service he's going to give me. Give me service, give me production, give me something. Hey, look, there's no shortage of money. You'll get all the money. This week, I want you to focus on what you're doing for people. Focus on your production. Focus on the activity. Focus on your outflow. Don't focus on what you're going to get. And I promise you, you'll get more than you ever expected.
There's so much more than you can even fathom. Like when we start talking about industries that we can sell to, or I mean, you know, we'll find a little pocket somewhere of a company who signs up with us and does really well, and then we find out that there's like hundreds of companies just like that we would have never even thought of.
Yeah.
Injectables for cattle.
Yeah.
And
the big mistake that we've made here, I don't know if you've made this mistake. What?
Yeah. Cattle fertility.
This guy in 4 years created a net worth over $1 million. Okay? Over $1 million. Hey, Grant Cardone here, New York Times bestselling author, and I want to talk to you about 5 tips that I can give you right now to grow your small business, or as an entrepreneur, start your business and start it on the right foot. Number one, you must make revenue your God right now. Okay, I know that sounds like sacrilegious, but the reality is this: your business and the future of your business, whatever you're selling books or training programs, or you're selling a food product, or you're starting a small business that services clients. Look, revenue is the growth of your company. Revenue determines, the revenue of your company determines how successful you're going to be in the next quarter and then again next year. Revenue is your God. You need to get every department, every person either assisting in revenue or the direct contribution of revenue in your company. Number 2 thing I want you to do is this. I want you to not discount your products anymore. I want you to take that out of your formula, out of any considerations. Oh, well, let's lower our price. No, I want you to get rid of that, okay? That is taboo for somebody who wants to grow their business. Free things, okay? Giving away free things, dropping the price of your products. You need to just eliminate that concept. I want you to say, hey, this is the price of our product. This is what we're selling our product for. And I want you to build the value add proposition until it finally gets that price, okay? 3rd thing I want you to do is this. I want you to fill up your pipeline. Most people run scared on revenue, the first 2 points, revenue, and then drop their price only because their pipeline's not full enough. I want you to load the pipeline up with opportunities. When a 2 o'clock appointment doesn't show up, you're like all discouraged. This is why. It's not because your 2 o'clock appointment didn't show up. It's because your pipeline wasn't full of somebody at 2:15, 2:30, 3 o'clock. Look, load your pipeline up. You want new problems, not old problems. You know what I mean by that? A new problem is this: 2 o'clock canceled. Oh my gosh, that gives me some breathing room for 2:15. Old problem is what? 2 o'clock cancels and you don't have anything to fill it up with. So fill the pipeline up with lots of opportunities. Number 4, I want you to dominate your sector. I don't want you to compete in it. I don't want you to play in it. I don't want you to spectate in your sector anymore. I want you to consider if you're cutting hair, doing massages, selling cupcakes, selling automobiles, you're doing social media, a guru guy, okay? Whatever you're doing, you're on Twitter, Facebook, I want you to dominate the sector. If you're going to advertise in the New York Times, I want you to dominate the New York Times, or I don't want you to go play in the New York Times. You get it? I want you to dominate the sector. If you're going to work a neighborhood, I want you to dominate that neighborhood. Literally cover it up. Own that space. Do not compete in it. Competition is the worst thing a
a small business or an entrepreneur can think with. And the fifth thing I want you to do is this. I want you to increase the number of personal visits you're making to your clients. And I want you to increase it by 10 times. I write about this in the 10X rule. Increase all activity 10 times what you think is necessary, and particularly when it comes to personal visits. Personal visits in the machine age, in the social media age of Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, etc., personal visits are the most valuable thing a small business owner can do.
We've increased, about 70% in our net profits. I was telling you, Grant, we were netting 20 grand. Now we're netting over 120.
Yeah. So I mean, that's more than 30, that's 120%.
I was telling Grant earlier. Before I was counting our money. I was looking at the thing. Are we going to be profitable? Are we not going to be? Now I'm not even counting. Now I'm just looking at ways to create more and more and more.
Don't spend time counting. If you got time to count your money, you're not making money.
Look, man, you got to be willing to go through fear. The biggest mistake that I was making as a startup was I wasn't going out pounding on doors. That's what I should have done right from the get-go. The amount of fear I had to confront was more than anything I'd ever experienced in my lifetime. And you need to spend all your time calling on clients. That's what you need to spend 90% of your time on, calling on clients. Either calling them by phone, calling them in person. Hey, my name's Grant Cardone. I'm 29 years old, just started my business. I got an idea. I got to share it with you. I got to tell you about it. Who's my market? Pound them, beat them to death, dude. It's the same thing with getting a woman or getting a guy or getting a boat or getting a car.
No matter how much the world shrinks, the economy shrinks, the GDP shrinks, no matter what kind of catastrophe, regardless of what happens, I still have money coming in.
Look, ain't nothing happening to you. Remember that in the 10X rule? There's nothing happening to you. It's happening because of you. Quit acting like a victim. Change your positioning. He says, no, that didn't happen to me. It happened because of me. Man, if you could get this one point, it'd be unbelievable for you as a professional salesperson. People don't tell you no because of their position. They tell you no because of what you presented. How you handle rejection is the key.
This is a guy talking to himself. I'm a terrible salesman, and the customer sucks, and the economy's terrible, and this is Mr. Obama's fault, and oh my God. That's you talking to yourself, okay? All you do is pin yourself down into a place of no answers. Rejection is only experienced because your business model is broken. So I don't experience rejection today the way I did as a young salesperson because I understand rejection is only an indication that my business model is broken, that I don't have enough leads going on. Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't have any emotional connection with you saying no today, even though I've tried and didn't get it and would appear that temporarily I failed. All I do, dude, I got somebody else to call on now. I got a second person, a third person, a fourth person, a fifth person. As long as your pipeline's full, if you watch a professional athlete, a baseball player that's going to play, 200 games a year, basketball player, they do 160 games in a year. They don't get all upset about one loss. They're like, dude, we got 164 games left. We're going to lose some of these. Rejection is an indication that your business model is broken. It is not an emotional state. Hey, Grant Cardone here, New York Times bestselling author. I just wrote an article for Entrepreneur.com labeled 5 Sales Tips to Recharge During the Lazy Days of Summer. They asked me, Entrepreneur.com said, hey, can you do a thing about summer slowdown? And I was like, dude, what do you mean summer slowdown? I almost said no, I can't write that article. I don't know what you're talking about. And then I said, what are you talking about? Well, like in New York or different parts of the country, that's their summer months and people start going on vacation. Can you talk to a business about what they would actually do during a summer slowdown? Well, here's the reality. A summer slowdown is no different than, hey, how am I going to compete with Santa Claus? Or what happens when it gets cold this winter, okay? It's like these seasonal excuses we make for slowdowns. All the way to, oh, the government, we're not expanding. Oh, the economy is terrible. Oh, the banks aren't lending. These are all just excuses. The summer slowdown, while it might seem real to you, okay, in New York, it is real. So I put together these 5 tips how to handle any slowdown, not just summer, but just think in terms of summer for a second, okay? First thing I want you to know is I want you to make a firm decision when there's a slowdown in your market. I want you to make a firm decision not to participate in it. Just disagree. just disagree with the slowdown, okay? First thing I got to do is mental. I got to fix this first from my neck up, right? I got to get a checkup from the neck up, as they say, right? I got to get this fixed. Hey, dude, I'm not going to participate in the freaking slowdown. If everybody buys the idea of the slowdown, the ice, Santa Claus, Easter Bunny, bullshit, okay? Then I got less competition. So I'm going to come up with a plan. I'm not going to participate. That doesn't mean I'm just going to be like, oh, well, I'm not going to participate. It means like I'm going to literally figure out how to capture the sleepers in the marketplace, okay? My competition, okay? Not worry about who's going off on vacation for the summer. How do I take advantage of my competition who's mentally gone on vacation, okay? Second step I want you to take is work your power base. Friends, family, relatives, cousins, uncles, aunts, people that bought from you, somebody that was in the store 30 days ago, your restaurant 60 days ago, people that are warm, people that have been around you. I want you to call them and offer them some special. Hey, you were in a week ago, you just ate at our restaurant, or you were in a week ago, bought some electronics. You just got a haircut with us 2 weeks ago. I got a special for you, man. You were in 2 weeks ago. Come back in. I'll give you a little cleanup, a little nip up, a little fix up. Half price. See, what you're doing now is generating business through your power base. Nobody uses their power base enough. Friends, family, relatives, people close to you, warm people, people that bought from you recently. Third thing I want you to do is target on the people that are not going on vacation. You know, the people that asked me to write this article, they act like everybody in New York left New York. Okay, look, most people don't go on vacation. Hell, they can't afford it. Why? Because they don't know my freaking tips. So I want you to target on the businesses close to you. Like, you work right here. Over here's a business. Right here's a business. Oh yeah. Over here's a business. I forgot. And on this side, and across the street and a block from here. See, I want you to focus on these people around you. Walk in and give them a flyer. Grant Cardone here with Cardone Training Technologies. We got a summer special going on. You going on vacation? Oh shit, you got to be kidding. You're not going on vacation? I thought everybody was going on vacation. I was watching CNN. They say everybody's leaving the city. It's dumb. Okay? Work your surrounding market with some flyers, some specials. You don't need to discount your price right now, okay? You need to make contact. The fourth thing I want you to do is offer value add propositions. I don't want you to give money away. I don't want you to do the traditional discount. I want you to add a product. Maybe it's a free salad now, or maybe it's, a free this, or maybe it's, hey, if we put these two things together, you get it for this price, okay? Look, the bottom line is you got to get traffic. The summer slowdown solution is traffic opportunities, okay, not price and a lower price. So I want you to do value add. Once you get somebody, do a value add. Hey, come back in 2 weeks. You just got a haircut. I'll do a little nip for you for half price. You're like, Grant, well, you just discounted the price. Dude, I got a guy to do a haircut twice in 2 weeks. Don't be stupid, okay? That's 2 haircuts for 1.5 prices. You wouldn't have seen him for another month. That's more gross revenue, okay? Think. The fifth thing I want you to focus on is service is senior to selling. You're not there just to serve somebody a salad or give them a haircut or plumb their house or fix their roof. You're there to service them, take care of them, love them. During this summer slowdown, you become so acutely aware of how important service is, how important your reputation is, how important it is that you take care of people, that you love them, you follow them up, that you're sincerely and genuinely interested in your customers. The summer slowdown is a cause of years of neglecting people. I want you to really kick this service concept up and keep that in place year round. Here are my 5 tips for handling any summer slowdown, handling the Easter Bunny, handling Santa Claus. Dude, these 5 tips will freaking slay the guy that can't get up in the morning because he's so like mentally introverted into the summer slowdown. Okay, good luck. So look, first of all, I want to tell you, I totally understand how difficult it is in the marketplace right now. I know that many of you have a competitor down the street, one maybe just straight across from you, that is giving a product away, maybe even giving away the same product that you have, an identical product as you, and they lower the price. Why do they do that? Because they're no good at what they do. They suck, right? They're not trained, they're not prepared, they don't provide service, they don't have the right attitude, they're not getting the information they need to build value. dig in, train right now, okay? Train your attitude. Stay motivated, stay excited, and stay focused on the fact that price is a myth. It's a myth. Value is the thing that all people really want.